Today, we've done something a little different in that we had our implementation team talk about what they think about you as customers and our product. Let's take a listen.
I was going to actually mention that the other day I had a conversation with one of their clients, and they were just saying how the software has completely changed the way they do things on a daily basis.
Well, that's
And
cool.
they were thanking us for all of the hard work that we put through because they were doing everything paper-based, but then we took it on and we put everything like assets in for them. We put it all, like all the rooms we put in for them. So the fact that they didn't have to do all of that stuff themselves already saved them time, but then they have the system on top of it. So I just wanted to,
nice.
mention that. I was chatting with someone and it was a really good conversation. It was nice. It was a good feeling.
I like
That's so
those
awesome.
conversations.
Yeah.
They're the best,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
I had somebody say to me, because they went from paper to technology, and he said, I knew I was busy, but I didn't know how busy I was till I saw it in numbers.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that was like, okay, that computes.
Yeah. Well,
Right?
even then,
So-
like speaking of busy, the fact that we are implementing chains as quickly as we are able to do so, that was another thing that was brought up, that from the date that they said yes, we want to start, to the date that they had their first training was such a quick turnaround that they were just impressed with the fact that we were able to do that. And
Nice.
honestly, I'll be honest, so am I.
That's hilarious.
So
I was
am
going
I.
to ask, like, what do you think we do differently, Michael, compared to maybe another company that makes us do this so smooth for
I think
chains?
it's the fact that we have our processes in place and we have so many different people that we have our silos, but we're not just in silos. We all work together. So it would not happen if if the lead specialist didn't get the discovery call. It wouldn't happen if we didn't get that discovery call done and then moved on to Anne for her process, down to even Courtney, like you putting in all of the accounts and making sure that they're set up and the trainers have what they need for their tasks and all of that. And then and then you, Tracy, just managing the lot of us,
The bunch of
the
crazies.
bunch of crazies here. So that's what it is. That's what makes it smooth, is just us working together as a team.
Such a team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I love
it's
that.
So much
true.
is automated too, and they have questions, and when it's automated, you know,
Yes.
if they think, okay, it's going to be difficult to get somebody on the phone and all I'm going to get is a bot, they're going to just belay everything.
Yeah.
The fact that you guys are so hands-on, you'll be on either a phone conversation or even hop on a quick call that has nothing to do with training. It's just even talking about what's next. They always have all of you like as touchstones, and
Yeah.
for as busy as you are, I truly have no idea how you're doing it all. I don't. And
Well,
things are being done well. Like it's
Yes.
very impressive.
Yeah.
It's
We're
fine.
experts, Courtney.
Yeah.
That's why. We're
Yeah.
experts.
Hello.
Right, that's right.
The biggest thing that makes it work the way it does is the fact that we all know each other's jobs.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm,
So
point.
because we know all the different steps that are involved in the implementation from the time they're sold to the time that we've finished the training and get them going, because everybody knows everything, all the different positions,
Yeah.
we can actually help the client, even though it's not us that might be doing the step, we can help the client because we know all the steps.
yeah.
Well, that's good to mention too, like just the growth within. Like when I started, I was product specialist and then moved over to the trainer, and now I'm training the software and this lead specialist. Like you guys are starting to work towards the product specialist, right? So you know the lead specialist role, and now you can move over and learn other things and continue it.
That's exactly what I said last week, right? It's so important the way you guys are doing your job. You're learning everything along the way, which just makes you so much better.
Yeah.
More, for everybody.
Absolutely. And I think it also does give us, like I mentioned too, is we're with the client from the start, right? So like if they need to call, we're there. If we're going to reach out, we're there. Like we're with them from start to finish, and all of us are. So it's really more of a hand-holding situation, but a support system as well. So
Exactly.
I think that ties into where they do have, like if they need something, they can go to you and you can say, well, I don't know right now, but I can talk to Susan or Michael or Tracy or somebody and we'll get the answer that you need. Or will be discussed during the discovery call. So they'll cover all of that in the call, right? All of that, pinpointed information that they're going to need to move you forward. So all of that ties into everybody. So I'm being able to just be a little bit of a touch point, right? In some cases, not all the time, but most of the time.
Yeah. I've gotten
what's that, Anne?
I've gotten a lot of feedback from clients, from people I've trained. They said that we have one of the best support systems going. The reason they're pleased with our support, and they say it time and time again, they're pleased because they get a live person. That if we don't know the answer, we seek to find the answer. We respond quickly. These are all things, and I've had a lot of feedback from many different clients that say that we're one of the best at quick responses, helpful. We're always getting that compliment because we might not be able to fix it right away, but we do. We at least communicate with them.
Yep, that's the biggest thing.
99% of the time, the conversation is via phone with the person relaying that information, right? And
absolutely.
And you just said it too, via phone. If it's going to be something that we can't accommodate, because sometimes you can't accommodate everything. It's not going to be an email just saying no. It's a phone call, and that's what we do. We call and we explain why we're saying no, or why we're saying we can't do this now, and maybe it's a later. But yeah, it's that personal touch where it's not just coming through email saying no, we're not going to do this or can't.
Exactly. In that conversation, there could be a workaround, not a workaround, but another way of doing it, right? Another solution. That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's true. Because you could ask them very specific questions, because they might send you an email and you're going, okay, I can respond with a very detailed email, but something's going to get lost in the translation. You might not always interpret what I'm saying. So you get on the phone and you ask the specific questions. What kind of problem are you having? When? That sort of thing. And you'll go through there. Right?
I had that this weekend. My husband's got a website and something happened with it. And I went and it was a bot and I just got links. It's like, did this help you? It was like reading stereo instructions. I don't know. Like, I have no idea. And I just thought, I just kept typing human and nothing was coming up. And it's so frustrating. I just thought, to hell with this. And I just said, this is your problem now. But how often, how many people will we have that stayed with us if we just said, oh, here's the link? You know what I mean? The wiki link's great. If it's small things, then that's available to them, but so is a real live person anytime they want to get in touch with us.
Yeah, and actually, speaking of the wiki link, the fact that we have that as a resource for our clients, it's huge. Like I'll showcase that at the end of our first training so that they know that it's there.
But you do it at the end?
Right at the end. And so what I do is I say everything that we talked about today, and I'll show them. This is what we talked about. You can find it here. This is what, and then down to videos, how to change your password, how to change a task type. Like, it's all there. So
I start there, and then I also remind them.
That's a good, right? I finish there. My key word is, and when it comes to maintenance care, you're never left alone. That is what I say, and it's repeated. When it comes to maintenance care, you're never left alone. And what I mean by that is we offer support, and then I go into my spiel. But
That's awesome.
And it's funny, we all have our own way of doing it. So it's funny you do it both ways, but
I always tell them, I get to the point where I show them the wiki and I say everything you wanted to know about maintenance care, but were afraid to ask. It's all there.
That's a good way to do it too. Yeah, it's all in here.
That's true, and I point to that too. I always do recaps, right? I always sort of reinforce what we talked about today, and then reinforce what we're going to be talking about for the next session. Set that homework. It's hard sometimes.
Well,
time is hard. But it also depends. It's really helpful when you have an engaged audience, and I think the transition is happening with our audience. The demographic is changing, right? Where expectations are more commonplace for technology than it was 5 years ago. Things are transitioning. You have the younger generation coming in to facilities management and facilities maintenance perfectly comfortable with software,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So it
Second
changed,
nature.
yeah, where they tend to onboard more quickly and they tend to be transitioned in a more timely fashion. But that
they
also
also-
means too, we
yes.
do accommodate people that are not comfortable with technology.
That's
right?
that was what I was going to say is I love how you guys all take something that can be complex and you make it so simple, right? And people just like, aha, right? They see that aha moment. That's pretty cool.
And some are complex. I mean, there's no getting around the way that they're set up, but there are solutions to everything as far as workflow. It's just coming up with the solution. Sometimes it might take a few phone calls because you're trying to figure it out too, based on phone calls that you've had with them.
All right.
And then the end result is you have a very well set up, well managed system.
Yep.
Right?
Nice.
So,
Nice.
yeah.
Oh, and okay, how about I ask a question?
Yeah.
What does everybody love about their job? Let's start with Michael.
Okay, start with me.
Yes.
I came from customer service, so the fact that I am dealing with the public, dealing with customers, it's in me. So the fact that I get to have that one-on-one time, especially in training, it's a little different than the demos. So the training, you're really spending time, you're really connecting with them, and that just makes me happy. I enjoy coming in here, getting to see the customers, getting to discuss with them their needs, and walking away knowing that we're providing something that makes their lives easier. So
love
that's
it.
what I would say.
I agree 100%.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to change over and take the quiet one up here in the corner, Mr. Alex. Throw you under.
Yeah.
Tell us, Alex, spill it all.
Yeah.
Tell us how much you
Tell
love
us
it.
all your goods.
I love you guys so much. No, I love seeing a lead come in looking for a maintenance software. I get to understand what they're looking for, get them on the demo, and then, a week later, I'm getting them on the training. And just going
Nice.
through that process, they came to the right place, and I know that, and I see that, and then having the team we have here to get them through that process and get
Nice.
exactly what they're looking for is amazing. So,
Oh, well said.
yeah.
Hey, good job. Nice, thank you. Okay, Cameron, how about you?
Yeah, I'm gonna kind of give a similar answer as Alex, but really when we get a client that starts off as a lead possibly, or somebody who's just in their looking stage, we often talk to them and they're, I have no idea what to do. I'm gonna rip my hair out here. I've got, work orders flying all over this room, and us really being able to satisfy their needs and see what they're looking for, and understand, how can we set this up specific to them? And then we transfer into the implementation process, and often we speak with the client again at that point, and they're much happier with getting this process started as they were when we first talked. So
All right, nice. Love it. Very good. Such a good team. Okay, Courtney, how about you?
Mine kind of piggybacks off of Michael, Susan, and Anne. Like, you guys love when, you've trained someone, they've learned a lot, and it's, that kind of teacher moment that you have. It's like, oh my gosh, look what I taught them, and everybody's doing everything well. I guess the last year or so, I've been training our new team members. And for me, that's awesome. It's like a mom moment, like when, there's that aha moment, or, you book your first demo, you make your first sale, like anything like that. Like, I absolutely love, like, that's been the most rewarding thing for me in the last year. I love it. And it just gives me time, because before I wasn't really talking. I didn't have that much interaction with everyone. It was mostly Dino but I love it. Gives me the opportunity to be able to talk with everybody that works here, which is really nice.
Yeah, nice. That is so cool. It's very true that the training thing is very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Susan, how about you?
I probably would piggyback off of Michael, but I'm an administrative person, right? So that's what my job has always been. So I like processes, right? Like, and I can understand and sort of take a customer's request and make it happen. I like complicated setups. I wish I had more time for complicated setups, because I really do like them. I like trying to find a solution to make everything work. And I think probably I like how we see a lot of organic growth with customers that come and add additional license, but also customers that have left, gone on to other organizations, and you see them coming back too, right? I like how that happens. That's kind of neat because they'll send you an email saying that they're with this organization now, and then it's like, you know, you get that total change, and they've taken what they had, which means they liked it, and now they're taking it to where they are going. And I think that I like to see
That's
that
cool.
too.
Yeah, very nice, very nice. Okay, Anne, and you can't say your favorite part is that you're retiring. So I
Yes.
stole your thunder there.
No. Well, I can talk about the favorite parts that I've had in the time that I've been
Yeah,
here.
no,
And I've
sorry.
had some favorite parts.
Good.
Training people, great. When you get referrals, you know, you get referrals for clients, you know, they tell their friends and they tell their friends, and all of a sudden somebody calls you out of the blue and you've never met them before. Well, so-and-so gave me your name. And I've had that a few times.
Nice.
They said that they wanted maintenance care as well. That makes you feel good. Now, I do slightly different stuff because I do a lot of the technical stuff, and I love a challenge. Okay. So when I get something, I'll dig and I'll dig and I'll dig until I can find the answer to it. That's just my nature. I like doing technical stuff and I like trying to figure out. So that's because I do different things every day. It keeps you engaged. It keeps you're not doing the same old thing all the time. There's always different hats that you're wearing throughout the day. So it keeps you challenged, keeps you on your toes. And I really enjoy a challenge. So when I'm looking at a problem and I'm looking at a technical problem, I'm looking at it going, okay, well, how can I dissect this to figure it out? So
That's a really good
Nice.
point, Anne, because you know, Michael knows too, probably more than anybody. When I can't figure something out, I'll call you guys and say, okay, here's my issue. I'm at a roadblock. I can't figure it out. And just a short conversation, and I've already got a solution.
I did that with you on Friday. It wasn't as short as a conversation as we probably could have
But we
made
did
it,
come up with a solution, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Yes.
Yeah.
It took longer than we thought,
Yeah,
but that's just it. It's like, you know, that if you go to anybody, that you're going to get help, right? And you're going to be able to, hopefully, if you're struggling with trying to figure something out, sometimes it just takes another person's perspective to look at it.
Yes.
And now it's like, okay, all right, yeah, okay, that sort of changes the dynamic now. And now it's like, okay, all right, that's good. That's all right. I'm going to take that and go back and think about it. And that's where our job is so interesting, is because we are constantly trying to adapt our system to a customer's needs. And so every customer, and there are exceptions, is different, right? So that's where that initial call, the discovery call, or even starting at the demo and waking your way through the information that comes through is so valuable, because now I can go in with information and sort of have more than when I started. And then as you go into training, it sort of vets out too, right? So you can always refer back to those conversations. So that's important.
You learn yourself from every training you do.
Oh, for
right?
sure.
Especially when they're all so different. You're always like, okay, next time.
Trainings aren't cookie cutter.
absolutely
it's
not.
impossible to be that way. You're
That would
always
be boring if it was.
you're always judging your audience and trying to get everybody engaged. There's exceptions, right? But asking the right questions, always asking for input, remembering people's names is important, right? So
That's right, Sue.
Write them down.
right.
Write them
Yes,
down.
write
'cause
them
if
down.
you don't,
That's
you're
the
not gonna-
first
you're
thing
not
I
gonna
do.
remember.
I do it.
Yep, write
When
them
we
down.
talk about doing our prep for our calls, that's what we're doing, right? Is we're prepping to be professional during that training session or that discovery call. We're looking at notes. So when we go in, we don't go in not knowing anything. We're already ready to have the conversation. So then they also feel, and this is really important to remember, the customer also feels the value that you're putting onto them when you are prepared for that conversation, right? It means that you listen to them when, they were in the demo, when it transfers through to the setting up of the discovery call and the trainings, when it goes to the discovery call, all of that information is important to refer back to, right?
Yeah.
So it's important. And so when they feel that you are listening and you're engaged as they're engaged, because they can tell if you're not engaged,
Yeah.
just like you can tell they're not engaged, but your goal is to get them engaged, right? So, most of the time that happens.
And you guys do that so well, because for the lead, and then they become a customer, but they've been dealing with someone here for the better part of at least a month. So, for you guys to, again, they've never met you, but you know who they are. You have pretty much, you can read the notes, see, okay, I'm going to approach it this way because they might not be tech savvy. This is their personality.
Yep.
Like, you guys are always changing that too. It's the same as sales. You have to almost mimic or mirror what their personality is and change your approach. And you guys do it. And it's like you've been involved right from the start, but you're someone new in front of them and there's no hiccup or anything. Everything just keeps seamlessly going and they can see like the value in that. Nothing worse than it's like, okay, like this was just put in front of me and who am I speaking with today? One of those, like, I'm sure you guys
I
never
agree.
do anything that way. Like you
Yeah.
know who your audience is already.
Yeah, I'm always prepping. I always ask who's in the room with us because sometimes there's more people.
Yep. You never know.
Yeah, and
you
it's
never know.
No, and it's we get to know the clients. It's not just here you are, okay, bye-bye. It's almost like they become an extended family because you're so intertwined with
Yeah.
what they're doing and how they're doing their jobs, and you talk so much, right? It's just it's a really cool bond that ends up happening, I think.
Yeah, I enjoy that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and that translates to repeat business,
Yep.
right? I mean, it does.
Yeah.
Yep.
They
Does
go to
with our-
another location, they don't work there anymore,
Yep.
they go somewhere else. We've had those a bunch of times.
Mhm.
And it's always, and nothing against the sales team or anything. They can only spend so much time with them. It's really the implementation team that spends the time. The amount of time you guys have all been name dropped when we get a lead. I worked with Susan, I worked with Ann, I worked with Michael, but I'm not there anymore. But they don't have anything where I'm working now. And they remember you from the training because of all that time and because how hands-on you are. And that just speaks to how well you guys work with them.
Yeah.
Very nice. Well said. Well said.
Well said.
Yes.